The banishment decree burns in Adelhyde's trembling hands as armed guards drag her toward the border, and Alpha Konrad Rutimeyer watches from his tower window with cold indifference, never knowing that the child growing inside her Omega body carries the last drop of pure-blood alpha genetics in existence, a secret that will bring his empire to its knees within 6 months. If this story already has your heart racing, smash that like button right now and tell me the city you're watching from so I can send you a hug. Subscribe and turn on notifications because what happens next will shatter everything you think you know about Omega destiny. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single second of this. The winter wind cuts through Adelhyde's thin dress as the gates of Grindelwald territory slam shut behind her. She's 22 years old, 3 months pregnant, and completely alone in the frozen wasteland that separates the 5 great alpha territories. Her hands instinctively cover her stomach, protecting the tiny life that's already causing her morning sickness and dizzying fatigue. She doesn't cry. Omegas from the Zwingli bloodline don't cry, even when their entire world collapses in a single afternoon. 6 hours earlier, she'd been preparing tea in the Alpha's private chambers, her heart full of naive hope. She'd planned to tell Conrad about the pregnancy that evening during dinner. They'd been bonded for 14 months, ever since he'd claimed her during the annual gathering festival where Alphas chose their mates. She'd believed, foolishly, that he loved her, that their bond meant something beyond political advantage and physical satisfaction. Then Magistrate Werner Schwitz had arrived with documents proving that Adelhyde's grandmother had been half-human, mixed blood. The revelation spread through the territory like poison. Within hours, the Council of Alphas had convened. Within 3 hours, they declared her bonding null and void. Within 4 hours, Conrad had signed the exile papers without even looking at her face. Now she walks through snow that reaches her knees, heading toward the only place that might offer shelter. The Forgotten Zones. Territories so remote and resource-poor that no alpha bothers claiming them. Where rogues, outcasts, and broken omegas disappear into obscurity. Every step sends shooting pains through her lower back. Every breath feels like swallowing glass. But she keeps moving because stopping means death, and death means her baby dies too. What Adelheid doesn't know, what nobody knows, is that the child inside her carries a genetic mutation so rare that scientists believed it extinct. True pure-blood alpha genetics. Not the diluted bloodlines that current alphas possess, weakened by centuries of interbreeding and environmental factors. But the original, powerful, primal alpha DNA that created the hierarchy system 500 years ago. The kind that produces alphas who can shift forms, heal from fatal wounds, and live for 2 centuries. The genetics that every alpha family has been desperately trying to rediscover through selective breeding programs that have failed for 3 generations. The irony is devastating. Konrad Rutimeyer exiled the one Omega carrying the answer to his bloodline's greatest crisis. Back in Grindelwald territory, Conrad stands in his study, staring at a glass of whiskey he hasn't touched. His beta advisor, Friedrich Keller, reads through reports with increasing concern. The territory's birth rates have dropped 40% in 5 years. Alpha children are being born weaker, smaller, more susceptible to illness. The Rutimeyer bloodline, once the strongest in the northern regions, is dying. Conrad's own father lived to 163. Conrad, at 45, already feels his strength waning. His younger brother died at 38 from a simple infection that would have been nothing to their grandfather. Friedrich clears his throat. Alpha, the geneticists delivered their final assessment. Without significant intervention, the Rutimeyer line will produce no viable alpha offspring within 2 generations. They recommend immediate bonding with a new Omega from verified pure-blood lineage. Conrad's jaw tightens. Adelhyde's face flashes through his mind. Her silver eyes. Her gentle laugh. The way she'd curl against him during cold nights. Her Omega purr vibrating against his chest. He crushes that memory immediately. Sentiment is weakness. He'd done what the council demanded. What his duty required. Prepare the gathering festival announcements, Conrad says, his voice flat. I'll choose a new mate within the month. What neither of them realizes is that every Omega in the verified pure blood registries carries the same diluted genetics as the current alphas. That the registries themselves are flawed, based on 200-year-old record-keeping systems that prioritized wealth and social status over actual genetic strength. That true pure blood genetics disappeared from those families generations ago, surviving only in the marginalized bloodlines that mixed with humans out of necessity. Bloodlines like the Zwinglies. 3 weeks into her exile, Adelheid finds shelter in a collapsed mining facility deep in the Forgotten Zones. Other outcasts live here. Elderly Omegas abandoned by their packs. Betas with physical disabilities. Rogue Alphas who rejected the hierarchy system. They're suspicious at first, but when they see how far along her pregnancy has progressed, an elderly Omega named Greety Burkhalter takes her in. Greety had been a midwife before her exile 30 years ago. She examines Adelheid with experienced hands, then goes very still. Her wrinkled face transforms with an expression Adelheid can't identify. Wonder, fear. Child, Greety whispers. When did you conceive? Adelheid counts back. About 14 weeks ago. During the hunter's moon. Greety's hands tremble as they rest on Adelheid's stomach. And the father? What bloodline? Rutemeyer. Alpha Konrad Rutemeyer. Adelheid's voice breaks slightly on his name. The old Omega's eyes fill with tears. Do you know what you're carrying? Can you feel it? Adelheid shakes her head, confused and frightened by Greety's intensity. This child, Greety says slowly, has an alpha presence I haven't felt in 50 years. Not since before the weakening began. Not since the old days when alphas could still shift. Her voice drops to barely a whisper. This is a pure blood. A true pure blood. Adelheid's world tilts. That's impossible. My bloodline is contaminated. That's why I was exiled. Greety laughs, a sound between joy and bitterness. Contaminated. They call it contaminated when it's actually salvation. Human blood didn't weaken our genetics, girl. Preserved them. While the so-called pure blood families grew weaker with each generation of inbreeding, the mixed bloodlines maintained genetic diversity, strength, and sometimes, very rarely, that strength produces something extraordinary. She presses Adelheid's hand firmly against her stomach. You're carrying the air that every alpha territory would go to war to possess. The weight of that knowledge nearly crushes Adelheid. She thinks of Conrad, desperately seeking solutions to his bloodline's decline. She thinks of the other alpha territories, equally desperate. She thinks of her child, innocent and helpless, becoming a prize to be claimed and controlled. Nobody can know, Adelheid says firmly. Promise me. Nobody can ever know. Greety promises, but both women understand that some secrets are too powerful to stay hidden forever. Meanwhile, in Grindelwald territory, Conrad's new mating plans are falling apart. He's interviewed 12 Omegas from certified pure-blood families. All of them bore him senseless. Their conversations feel rehearsed. Their submission performative rather than genuine. None of them smell right. None of them feel right. He keeps comparing them to Adelheid, which infuriates him because he's not supposed to miss her. She was defective. Contaminated. He made the correct decision. But his alpha instincts are screaming that something is wrong. That he's made a terrible mistake. He dreams about her constantly. Dreams where she's calling for him, needing him, and he can't reach her. He wakes up with his chest tight with anxiety. His body covered in cold sweat. Friedrich notices his alpha's deteriorating condition with growing alarm. Alpha Conrad, perhaps we should delay the new bonding. You're not fully recovered from breaking the previous mate bond. The psychological effects can be severe when an alpha rejects an omega they genuinely cared for. Conrad slams his fist on the desk. I didn't reject her. The council declared the bonding void due to her impure bloodline. There's a difference. Is there? Friedrich's question hangs in the air, dangerous and honest. Conrad doesn't answer because he doesn't trust what he might say. At 5 months pregnant, Adelhyde's body begins showing changes that terrify everyone in the mining facility. Her eyes develop gold flecks that glow faintly in darkness. Her scent becomes so powerfully omega that alphas passing within a mile of the facility become agitated and aggressive, drawn by something they can't consciously identify. Her strength increases dramatically. She can lift supplies that would normally require 2 strong betas. Greedy recognizes the signs. The baby's genetics are affecting you. Pure-blood alpha children share their strength with their omega mothers during pregnancy. It's the body's way of ensuring the mother survives to deliver such a powerful child. But increased strength makes Adelheid more visible, harder to hide. When a rogue alpha named Ulrich Stauffacher attacks her one night, intending to claim an unprotected omega, Adelhyde's body responds with instincts she didn't know she possessed. She moves faster than humanly possible. Her fingernails extend into claws. She tears into Ulrich's shoulder with enough force to send him running, bleeding and terrified. The other outcasts stare at her with mixed fear and reverence. An omega who can fight like an alpha. It's unheard of. Impossible. But they've witnessed it. Word begins to spread through the underground networks that connect the Forgotten Zones. Whispers about a pregnant omega with strange powers. A child that might change everything. Those whispers eventually reach information traders who sell secrets to the highest bidders. And one of those traders has connections to the Rütemeyer territory. The information reaches Friedrich Keller on a cold morning in late autumn. A coded message delivered by a rogue beta who deals in underground intelligence. Friedrich reads it 3 times. His analytical mind rejecting the implications before slowly, horrifyingly, accepting them. He finds Konrad in the training yards, working through combat drills with brutal intensity. The alpha has lost weight. His eyes are shadowed with lack of sleep. He's pushing himself to exhaustion every day, trying to outrun the guilt and regret that haunt him. "Alpha," Friedrich says quietly, "I need to speak with you privately." Immediately. Something in his tone makes Konrad follow without argument. Once they're alone in the study, Friedrich hands him the message. This arrived an hour ago from a usually reliable source in the Forgotten Zones. I've already sent scouts to verify the information, but if it's true, we have a significant situation. Konrad reads. His face goes pale. The paper crumples in his tightening fist. Adelheid is alive. And 6 months pregnant with a child exhibiting pure-blood alpha characteristics. Alpha Konrad, if this information is accurate, you exiled your own pure-blood heir. The sound that comes from Konrad is barely human. Anguish and rage and devastation combined into one guttural cry. He throws the glass from his desk against the wall, then another, then sweeps everything to the floor in a violent explosion of emotion. Friedrich wisely steps back and lets his alpha process. When Konrad finally speaks, his voice is deadly calm. Prepare a search party. 20 of our best trackers. We leave at dawn. Alpha, the other territories will learn about this. If the rumors are spreading through the underground networks, information traders will sell to everyone. We'll have competition. Then we move faster. Konrad's eyes burn with renewed purpose and something deeper. Desperation. She's carrying my child, Friedrich. Mir. I cast her out into the frozen wastes while she was carrying the solution to everything. Have to find her. I have to bring her home. And if she refuses to come, you exiled her, Konrad. Sign the papers yourself. Watched while guards dragged her away. She has no reason to trust you or forgive you. Konrad's expression shatters for just a moment, revealing the full extent of his regret. Then I'll spend the rest of my life earning that forgiveness. But first I have to find her. Back in the mining facility, Adelheid goes into early labor at 7 months. The stress of hiding, the inadequate nutrition, the constant fear, all of it culminates in contractions that rack her body with agonizing intensity. Greety and 2 other experienced omegas assist her through 18 hours of grueling labor. At one point, Adelhyde's body temperature spikes so high they fear she'll die. At another, her screams of pain become roars that sound distinctly alpha, impossible for an omega but undeniably real. When the baby finally emerges, the entire facility goes silent. The child is larger than any newborn they've seen. His eyes open immediately, glowing pure gold. When he cries, the sound carries alpha command even at minutes old. Every omega in the building feels the instinctive urge to submit and protect simultaneously. Greety places the baby on Adelhyde's chest, tears streaming down her weathered face. A son. A perfect, healthy, pure-blood alpha son. Adelhyde holds her baby with trembling arms, overwhelmed by love so fierce it borders on violence. She would kill anyone who tried to take him, die to protect him, burn the world down if it threatened him. This is her son. Hers. No matter what bloodline he carries or what power he represents. She names him Casper after her grandfather, Casper Zwingli Rutemeyer, though she'll never use that last name where anyone can hear it. For 2 weeks, they exist in a bubble of fragile peace. Adelheid recovers faster than any Omega Greety has ever assisted. The birth injuries heal within days instead of weeks. Her milk comes in abundantly. Casper grows at an accelerated rate, already lifting his head and tracking movement with those unsettling golden eyes. Then the search parties arrive. First Conrad's trackers, disguised as traders. Then soldiers from the Bachman territory to the east, pretending to hunt rogues. Then scouts from the southern wastelands. All of them drawn by rumors of the Pureblood Heir. All of them determined to claim the child for their own bloodlines. The facility erupts into chaos. Outcasts scatter into the wilderness. Greety grabs Adelheid and Casper, leading them through hidden tunnels deeper into the mining complex. They run through collapsed passages and flooded chambers, the baby somehow staying quiet as if he understands the danger. Behind them they hear fighting. Multiple alpha groups encountering each other, territorial instincts overriding their search missions. The violence buys Adelheid precious time to escape further into the mines. But Konrad isn't with the main search party. He came ahead with only Friedrich, using his intimate knowledge of Adelheid's scent to track her more effectively than any number of soldiers. While the other alphas fight over the facility, Konrad follows his Omega's trail through the tunnels with single-minded determination. He finds her in a dead-end chamber, backed against the wall with Greety standing protectively in front of her. Adelheid holds Casper against her chest, her eyes wild with fear and defiance. When she sees Konrad, something breaks in her expression. Betrayal. And underneath it all, the dying embers of love she can't quite extinguish. "Stay back," Adelheid warns, her voice stronger than it should be. "I won't let you take him." Konrad stops, raising his hands to show he's unarmed. His eyes find the baby, and the shock of recognition hits him like a physical blow. Those are his features. His golden eyes. His son. His pure-blood son. "Adelheid," he says, and her name sounds like prayer and apology combined. "I'm not here to take him. I'm here to bring both of you home." Home. Her laugh is bitter and broken. "You destroyed my home. You exiled me while I carried your child. You chose council politics over our bond. There is no home." "You're right." Konrad's voice cracks. "I failed you in every possible way. I was a coward who valued reputation over the Omega I loved. I signed those papers because I was afraid of being seen as weak. Afraid of losing the council's respect. And in doing so, I lost the only thing that actually mattered." Tears stream down Adelheid's face. "You think words fix this? You think an apology brings back the 3 months I spent freezing and starving in the wasteland? The terror of giving birth without proper medical care. The certainty that I would die and my baby would die and nobody would even know or care. No." Konrad takes one careful step closer. "Nothing fixes this. But I'm here to try. To spend however long it takes earning back your trust. To protect you and our son from every other alpha who wants to claim him. To give you the life you deserved from the beginning. Above them, the sounds of fighting intensify. Friedrich appears at the tunnel entrance, blood on his clothes. Alpha, we need to move. Bachmann's forces are overwhelming our position. If we don't leave now, we won't leave at all. Adelheid looks between Konrad and the tunnel exit, weighing impossible choices. Stay here and risk being captured by hostile alphas who will definitely separate her from her son. Or trust the alpha who already betrayed her once. Casper makes the decision for her. The baby turns his head toward Konrad and makes a small sound. Not distress. Recognition. The bond between alpha fathers and their pure-blood sons activates instantly. An instinctive connection that transcends logic. Konrad's expression transforms into pure wonder and devotion. "Hello, Casper," he whispers. "I'm your father. And I promise you, I will never fail you or your mother again." Adelheid closes her eyes, making the hardest choice of her life. "If you betray us again, I will kill you myself. Omega or not, I will find a way." "I know," Konrad says simply. "And I would deserve it." The escape from the Forgotten Zones becomes the stuff of legend. Konrad fights with a ferocity born of redemption and desperation, cutting through rival alphas while Friedrich and Grete protect Adelheid and Casper. They steal horses from the Bachmann encampment. They ride through 2 days and nights without stopping, pushing the animals to their limits. When they finally cross back into Grindelwald territory, Adelheid thinks they might find safety. Instead, they find the Council of Alphas waiting at the border with armed soldiers. Magistrate Werner Schwitz steps forward with that same cold expression he wore when he declared her bloodline contaminated. "Alpha Konrad," Werner says formally, "you stand accused of treason against the Council. You retrieved an exiled Omega in direct violation of decree. You must surrender the Omega and her child to Council custody for evaluation and appropriate placement." Konrad places himself between the Council and his family, his entire body radiating lethal intent. The only placement that child needs is with his mother and father. "Stand down, Werner. The child is a pure-blood heir. He belongs to all of Grindelwald territory, not to a single family unit. The Council will determine his rearing and future bonding arrangements." That's when Adelheid understands the true danger. They don't want to kill Casper. They want to raise him as a territorial resource. Control his development, his education, his eventual bonding. Turn him into a political tool rather than allowing him to be a person. "No," Adelheid says, stepping forward despite Konrad's protective positioning. "My son belongs to himself. Not to your council. Not to your territory. Not to your political schemes. If you try to take him, you'll have to kill me first." Werner smiles coldly. "That can be arranged. An Omega's life matters little compared to securing a pure-blood heir." The soldiers raise their weapons. Konrad's own people, ready to fire on his Omega and child on Council orders. The betrayal cuts deeper than anything Adelheid experienced in exile. Then something extraordinary happens. Casper, barely 2 weeks old, releases an alpha command so powerful that every person present except Adelheid drops to their knees. The baby's eyes blaze gold. His small body radiates authority that makes ancient alpha bloodlines feel like weak imitations. This is what true pure-blood power looks like. This is what the hierarchy system was built on before it degraded into politics and social control. In that moment of frozen shock, Friedrich makes a choice that will define the rest of his life. He turns his weapon on Werner Schwitz. The council is dissolved. Effective immediately. Any who oppose will answer to me. Other soldiers follow Friedrich's lead, torn between old loyalty to the council and new recognition of where true power now resides. The standoff stretches for an eternity of seconds. Finally, Werner backs down. He sees the future clearly. This child will grow into an alpha who can destroy their entire political system with a thought. Better to negotiate now than face annihilation later. "Very well," Werner says, his voice tight with suppressed rage. "The exile decree is revoked. The Omega Adelheid Zwingli is restored to full status. But Alpha Konrad, you will answer for your actions before a formal council review. Konrad doesn't care about council reviews or political consequences. He only cares about getting Adelheid and Caspar somewhere safe where they can finally rest. The return to Conrad's estate feels surreal. Adelheid walks through rooms she never thought she'd see again. Servants who ignored her during her exile now bow deeply, their attitudes transformed by her son's demonstrated power. She hates it. Hates that respect only comes through fear and utility rather than basic decency. That night, after Caspar finally sleeps in a proper nursery with guards stationed outside, Adelheid and Conrad face each other in private for the first time since the exile. The silence stretches heavy between them. "I don't forgive you," Adelheid says quietly. "I don't know if I ever will." "I understand." Conrad keeps his distance, respecting her space. "But I need you to know something. When I signed those exile papers, I convinced myself I was doing my duty, following protocol. But the truth is simpler and more shameful. I was afraid. Afraid of what loving you meant about my own bloodline. Afraid that accepting your mixed heritage would make me weak in others' eyes. I chose pride over love, and I will regret that choice until I die." Adelheid's hands clench into fists. "You could have come after me immediately. The moment the council left. You could have searched. I should have. I was paralyzed by shame and stubborn pride. Every day you were gone felt like dying slowly. But I told myself you were better off without me. That you'd find another alpha who deserved you. I was a coward, Adelheid. In every way that matters." She wants to hate him. Some part of her does hate him. But another part remembers the alpha who used to hold her gently during nightmares. Who learned to make her favorite tea exactly right. Who listened when she talked about her dreams of starting an Omega educational program. That Conrad still exists somewhere underneath the council-trained alpha who signed her death warrant. "You have to dismantle the council," Adelheid says firmly. "Completely. Not just remove Werner. The entire system is corrupt. It allowed them to exile me based on bigoted bloodline politics. Turns children into territorial resources. Treats Omegas like property. If you want any chance of me trusting you again, you end that system." Conrad nods slowly. "It will take time. I'll face resistance from traditionalists. But yes, I'll do it. For you. For Caspar. For every Omega who deserves better than what this hierarchy has become. And I want protection for the outcasts in the Forgotten Zones. Greedy and the others who sheltered me. They get full citizenship and resources. Pensions for the elderly. Medical care. Dignity. Done. And I want the bloodline registries destroyed. They're built on false science and social prejudice. We start over with actual genetic testing that doesn't discriminate based on human heritage. Done." Adelheid studies him carefully. "Why are you agreeing so easily?" "Because I've seen what the current system creates. Weak alphas clinging to meaningless titles. Omegas treated as breeding stock. Children valued only for their political utility. I don't want Caspar growing up in that world. I want him to know his mother's strength. To value people for their character rather than their bloodline percentages. If dismantling the council and rebuilding our society is what that requires, then that's what I'll do. It's not forgiveness. Not yet. But it's the foundation of something that might eventually become forgiveness. Shared purpose. A common vision for their son's future." That night, Adelheid sleeps in a proper bed for the first time in months. Caspar rests in a bassinet beside her. His small chest rising and falling with peaceful breaths. Conrad keeps watch from a chair across the room, unwilling to presume he's welcome in the bed they used to share. Around midnight, Caspar wakes crying. Adelheid reaches for him automatically, but Conrad moves faster. He lifts his son with trembling hands, this alpha who commands armies but approaches his newborn like holding fragile glass. He walks the room, speaking softly in the old language that alphas used before modern territorial divisions. Adelheid watches through half-closed eyes as Conrad bonds with their son. She sees the transformation in his expression. The wonder. The fierce protectiveness. The absolute devotion. This is the Alpha she bonded with originally. The one who existed before council politics and bloodline anxiety corrupted him. "Tell him about the stars," Adelheid says softly. Conrad looks at her in surprise, then back at Casper. He carries the baby to the window where moonlight streams through. "You see those stars, my son. Each one is a story waiting to be told. Your mother taught me that. She said that Omegas used to navigate by stars before Alphas built roads and territories. That the old knowledge still exists if we're willing to learn." Casper's crying softens to small whimpers, then stops entirely. His golden eyes reflect starlight. "Your mother is the strongest person I've ever known," Conrad continues. "She survived what would have killed most Alphas. She protected you when I failed to. She's going to teach you that strength isn't about domination. It's about resilience, compassion, the courage to be vulnerable." His voice breaks slightly. "Everything I forgot and need to relearn." Adelheid closes her eyes as quiet tears slide down her cheeks. Not tears of sadness anymore. Tears of cautious hope. The road ahead will be difficult. Trust takes years to rebuild. But watching Conrad hold their son with such reverence and speaking such truth, she thinks maybe, possibly, they might find their way back to each other. Over the following months, Conrad keeps his promises. He dissolves the Council of Alphas despite fierce resistance from traditionalists. He establishes a new governing system that includes Omega and Beta representatives with actual authority. He sends resources to the Forgotten Zones and grants full citizenship to refugees and outcasts. He personally oversees the destruction of the corrupted bloodline registries. The other territories watch with mixed reactions. Some see it as weakness, others see it as evolution. When Casper reaches his first birthday, displaying alpha abilities decades ahead of normal development, the skeptics start to reconsider. Maybe the old system was the weakness. Maybe strength comes from places they never thought to look. Adelheid slowly, carefully allows herself to hope. She starts sleeping in the same bed as Conrad again, though she maintains boundaries. She lets him hold her during nightmares about the exile. She accepts his help with Casper's increasingly complex needs. She even laughs at his terrible jokes occasionally. One evening, as they watch Casper play with wooden blocks with surprising dexterity for a 1-year-old, Conrad speaks quietly. "Do you think you'll ever fully forgive me?" Adelheid considers the question seriously. "I don't know. Some wounds scar permanently. But I think I can build a life with you anyway. Not the life we had before. Something different. Something honest about our failures and stronger because of them. That's more than I deserve." "Yes," she agrees simply. "But Casper deserves parents who try. Who model what real partnership looks like instead of hierarchy and submission. So I'm trying. For him. And maybe eventually for us too." Conrad reaches for her hand. She lets him take it. His thumb traces circles on her palm, a gesture of affection he used to make before everything broke. Feels both familiar and new. "I love you," Conrad says. "I never stopped. Even when I was too stupid and proud to act like it." Adelheid breathes deeply. "I know. I love you too. Even when I wish I didn't. Even when the anger still burns. Love doesn't fix everything, but it's a start." Outside their window, stars illuminate the night sky. The same stars that guided Adelheid through frozen wastes. The same stars that witnessed her exile and survival. The same stars that now watch over a family learning to heal from devastating betrayal. Casper looks up at his parents and smiles. His golden eyes wise beyond his months. This child who should never have existed according to corrupted science. This pureblood heir born from mixed bloodlines and desperate survival. This boy who will grow up to revolutionize what the hierarchy system becomes. But that's a story for later years. Tonight, a small family sits together in comfortable silence, building something fragile and precious from the ruins of what broke. It's not a perfect ending. It's not even a complete ending. It's just a beginning. A chance to do better. To be better. To prove that exile doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of something no one expected. Something stronger than pure blood politics and council decrees. Something as simple and complicated as an Omega who refused to give up, an Alpha who learned to choose love over pride, and a child who carries the future in his extraordinary genetics. The story of their healing will take years. But every journey starts with a single step. And tonight, in this quiet moment of tentative peace, they take that step together. If this story touched your heart, drop a comment below telling me what you felt. Did Conrad deserve a second chance? Would you have forgiven him? And don't forget to subscribe because this channel brings you stories about love, redemption, and the strength it takes to rebuild what's broken. Hit that notification bell so you never miss the next emotional journey. Until next time, remember that sometimes the greatest strength is found in the most unexpected places, and that love, real love, means choosing each other even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next story.